Good afternoon, everybody. This is Eddie Laporte. I'm the Executive Director of the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, and this Q&A webinar will focus on social entrepreneur and entrepreneurship development project, or for an easier way of saying it is SEED. So we'll hold all questions to the end. And then this recording will be uploaded on our website. So please during this webinar, we're gonna review the application grant guidelines, and we're gonna go through how to access our online portal. To download the application and accessing supporting documents, you can write down this long URL here, or you can simply Google the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, scroll down to Spotlight, click Grant Opportunities. When you're using Sage, Sage is our online platform for the electronic uploading of our application. Sage stands for Systems Administering Grants Electronically. The Sage address to access the Department of State's Sage portal is www.sage.nj.gov. That's www.sage.nj.gov. When you're accessing Sage, please use Microsoft Edge, Safari, that's a typo, should have an I at the end of it, and Firefox, one of those three. Do not use Google Chrome. And whomever you're asking to upload information into Sage, tell them not to use Google Chrome as well, as Google Chrome does not interface at all with Sage. So if you're using Google Chrome and you upload and you type in information and you think you've submitted it, we don't get any information. We just get a blank application. Remember to always hit the save button in Sage. Sage doesn't have an automatic save feature. And if you have any questions, you can call us at 609-984-6952, 609-984-6952, or you can email us at ofbi@sos.nj.gov, ofbi@sos.nj.gov. When you're accessing Sage, make sure to have the grant guidelines next to you, as Sage will not be asking you the specific questions that you need to answer per the guidelines. So we're going to go live. Let me see where this takes us. Okay, so when you Google the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiative, this is our landing page. And on the top, you'll see about the office, grant opportunities, quarter in review, resources, webinars, and OFBI peer reviewers. And there, if you click on that, you'll get more information. If you scroll down, you'll see we have a lecture, a speaker series called Café con Leche. And this is our first one. We have another one that we're going to be uploading, which is the FEMA funding resources with the feds. That should be up there shortly. If you scroll down to the right, you'll see a resources box. If you click Instant Connect, another window opens up, and you'll complete the registration form. You submit it, and you'll be automatically added to our email distribution, where you'll be notified of funding and other resource opportunities. If you come over here to the left, under where it says Spotlight, if you click Grant Opportunities here, or if you scroll up to the top and click at Grant Opportunities here, you'll be taken to our grants page. So the application due date is April 20th, 2023. You have a lot of time between now and then to ask us questions, to set up Zoom meetings with me and your team to answer whatever questions you have. I am at your service. You can literally take my time hostage between now and probably 2 weeks prior to the application due date. But 2 weeks prior to the application due date, I can't give up my time like that, because I'm going to be putting out a lot of fires. So you should take advantage of this time now. If you look at grant guidelines, these are all our grant guidelines here. Our most current grant guidelines will be here. Today, we're going to be talking about the Social Enterprise Entrepreneurship Grant Guidelines. Before we do that, let me scroll further down. These are our scheduled Zoom Q&As that we've had. We've had one Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have one today, and then we have one on Monday. That'll be the last one. All of the webinars will be uploaded on our website. This is the logic model for programs that are applying for Freedom School, Special Project, Social Innovation, and Project Atlas. You guys have a different logic model. We have the board resolution here that I'll explain that. We'll have, this is your logic model for those that are applying for SEED. It's the business model canvas. I'm going to briefly talk about that. And then this is in the application process. And there's also the seed revenue analysis worksheet. In the previous years, everybody's been uploading various spreadsheets that focus on projected goals, projected revenues, current revenues, and it was just all over the place. So we've created one that we want you to use. So then you would upload that and use that. It's an Excel spreadsheet. In the application process, it asks you for your congressional district. So you click that link, which is this link here, congressional district, and it'll take you to this page, and then you can find your congressional district and put the correct congressional district down. We're also going to ask you for your legislative district. So click this link that says legislative district and find your legislative district. So there's some legislative districts that have multiple districts. For example, I think it's 36. One of them has like 3 different, and so you have to find the district where your municipality falls under, and then that's the district that you use. All right. People say, well, what if we provide services statewide? And we're worried about this grant. We're worried about this grant and how you're going to apply this grant. All right. If you scroll up to the top, you'll see again the same buttons about the office, grant opportunities, quarter review, resources and webinars, and RFBI. And then you'll see a navigation bar that says the same thing. So you click on the webinars button, and there's two webinars that you need to watch. If you've never applied for a grant through the Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, then you need to register to be part of Blue Sage. So you click this link, this webinar, and it's a 5-minute webinar, and because you need to, in order to gain access to the Blue Sage portal, you need authorization. So you need to do this. Now, it's February 10th. You got a lot of time. You can click on this, you can register, and then next week, under no pressure, you'll get authorized, you'll get an email, and everything is going to work lovely. You still got a lot of time. April 19th, you don't have a lot of time. The application's due April 12th, and historically, there are many organizations that wait until the week up to get authorization. There's only one person in the Department of State that provides authorization to Blue Sage, and it takes about 5 business days. So, you want to give yourself at least 3 weeks before the application is due to make sure that you're registered and authorized to access Sage. This webinar here, Step 1, Organization Information. This is a webinar that in order for any organization to receive a grant from any state agency in the state of New Jersey, you need 5 pieces of information. If your agency-wide budget is above $10,000, you need a charity registration number and proof that that number is valid. You need a division of revenue number, and you need to upload the division of revenue certificate to prove that division number is valid. You need to upload your 501c3 determination letter. You need to upload your certificate of incorporation, not your articles of incorporation, certificate of incorporation, and you need to upload your certificate of standing. So the certificate of standing is a free. You have to pay. The article, the certificate of incorporation is a fee. The other 3, 501c3 determination letter, you should have. The business revenue certificate is free if you're registered, and the proof of charity registration number, you can just get that off the website. Now, for the other 2, the certificate of incorporation and the certificate of standing, I don't want you to spend money on 2 documents that if you're not I would rather for you to spend the money on those 2 documents once you're awarded. So in place of the upload of those 2 documents, certificate of incorporation and certificate of standing, you can upload something like on a Word document. If we're awarded a grant, we will purchase and upload the required documents for contracting. That's it, plain and simple. You upload that. If you're having troubles with your charity's registration number and you're found to be non-compliant, you can upload the same document. If we're awarded a grant, we will upload and or purchase all required documents for contracting. Keep it real simple, because what's going to happen is, historically, someone is going to wait until April 19th, and they're going to bug out because there's just no way for them to get these documents. And so this is your safety hatch, right? You don't have to purchase anything now, but when you get contracted, awarded, and you want to move forward, then you have to get contracted. You have to purchase those documents. This is where all the other webinars that we've done on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today and Monday will be. We're having IT issues, so we're hoping that they'll be up here by the middle of next week sometime. So if you're going to be working with somebody that's not on this webinar, then what you can say is, hey, go to the OFBI website, click webinars, and there'll be the pre-recorded Q&A sessions per funding category. All right, let's go and let me share with you the grant guidelines. So the seed application is different from a social service application because it's tailored, it's templated under the model of a business plan, our online application. And there's a 2-tier process. In order to be recommended so there's 2 tiers. One is the application and one is the pitch. The application, the max score that you can get on the application is 70. The max score that you can get on the pitch is 30, right? The lowest that you can get on the application score in order to be moved on to the pitch is, what is it? It's 40. The lowest, and because 40 plus 30 is 70. So the combined score would have to get you a 70 or higher. In order to be recommended for funding, considered for funding, you need to score 70 or higher. So you've got to score at minimum of 40 on the written application in order to be considered to go to the pitch, right? Eligibility criteria are those 5 documents that I talked about. We don't fund houses of worships. We don't fund public-private charter schools and school districts. We don't fund colleges and universities. The seed growth, there's 2 funding opportunities, seed growth and startup. So the seed growth is really looking to invest in organizations that have an existing social enterprise venture or revenue generating model that is beyond prototyping and testing. You've been in operation for at least a year or 3 years. You're currently generating revenues, and you're just about breaking even, right? So if you're in that space, then you can apply for seed growth, right? Because seed growth looks at, okay, here's an enterprise. They've gone through the initial stages of launch and prototyping and testing and making course corrections, and they're in a pretty good space. Now they want to get a larger share of the market. And so whatever you need to get that larger share of the market, and the larger share of the market could be anywhere from a 0.5 percentage point to 0.2 percentage point, just growth in that space. Because I know it's challenging for organizations, especially nonprofits, to break into a market where you have incumbent organizations in that space. I get that. Seed Startup says, okay, you know what? We're going to fund you at $10,000 because it's an idea. You don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. No one knows if it's going to work, but on paper, it kind of makes sense. And, some organizations say, we need more than $10,000 as a startup. How in the world can you ask for more than $10,000 for a startup when every commercial enterprise in the world, when they're first starting out, starts out with 0? You will be starting out with $10,000. So you've got 10,000 reasons to be to be ahead of the game compared to other commercial enterprises that are just starting out, don't pay salaries because they know how to bootstrap, they understand the struggle, they understand how to stay disciplined in the space, right? And so we're going to say, and of course, nonprofits need money so that they can experiment. So we're going to allow you a grant of $10,000 to experiment to see if what you think makes sense in your targeted community. Now, when you get a grant and you're marketing your product or service, it's really good for you to indicate that the product or service that you're marketing is to a paying market, and it's meaning a market that can pay fair market rate for the product or service, and it's not targeted to the market that's marginalized in your community, that's economically and socially disenfranchised. They don't have the money, and so you need to think about where is there a market for this product or service that we can reach out to that's different from what they're currently receiving and would pay fair market rate for the product or service. That's how you need to think about this, right? All right. So if you scroll down, the executive summary says, briefly state the enterprise's value proposition, key partners, key activities, key resources, key relationships, the enterprise channels of distribution, the cost structure, how much is the budget, how much do you think it's going to be, and the projected revenue streams. Now, this executive summary is based off of this business model canvas. This is your logic model. This is your logic model. The other logic models that I was having organizations submit was really focused on social services programs. This is really about the 9 areas of a social enterprise. So you have key partners. Who are your key partners, right? What are your key activities? And these 9 areas need to align with the application. What's your value proposition? What is and I have descriptions here. What is the value you deliver to your customers? Which of your customers' problems are you helping to solve? What is the customer's need that your value proposition addresses? It's spelled out for you right there. The key resources. What are the resources you need to create and deliver your value proposition? The key resources and the cost structure section need to align 100% with the budget. That's all. What are your relationship with your customers? Remember, you have to have customers if you're going to be in this space, because you have a product or service that you're going to sell so that you can generate revenue and provide additional services to the targeted population, right? What are your channels of distribution? How are you going to make sure that people understand that what the value that you bring, that the people know about the value that you're bringing? How are you going to get that information out? How are your customers going to buy or use your product or service, right? Customer segments. Whom are you creating the value for? So this is your target population, right? But it's your target population based on the customers that may be willing to buy your product or service. So now I'm asking you, all right, if you want to get into this space, I need you to think about the enterprise in terms of a revenue generating model, right? And then you scroll down. What is your cost structure? What are the important costs you make to create and deliver your value proposition? So the key resources and the cost structure should align in the budget. And the revenue streams. How do your customers reward you for the value you provide to them? Like, this widget costs 50 cents to make, or let's say 10 cents to make. We're selling it at $1.50. How did you get to that price point? And how do you and in the purchase of that widget, do your customers, do they see value in that? And that's why they're buying it at that dollar amount. So your summary should be your executive summary should be pulling from that business canvas model. It's if you do that, and then I'm going to have a webinar about how to complete that for folks that like this is really strange for. Statement of collaboration. Briefly indicate the role of each collaborating partner. Unlike in the past, where during COVID, we didn't ask organizations to actually upload letters of support. But now that we're on the other side of that monster, and everybody, things seem to be working normally. And let me tell you, for many of the nonprofits, you never went virtual anyway. So it's always been normal for you, right? Because you've done you guys did a Herculean job during COVID, and I applaud you for the immense work that you did in the face of chaos, right? In the face of death, you were still out there doing what you were doing. So now that we're on the other side of that, now we're going to ask you to upload 3 letters of support and assure that the letters indicate how the partners will support the enterprise. Now, that can be, they can support you in terms of helping you with channels of distribution. They can support you in helping you develop relationship with customers. They can support you in terms of implementing a key activity. Now, a key activity might be, for example, if you're providing if you're working with a family, let's say, and they need mental health services, and you don't provide mental health services, but this other organization A provides health services, mental health services. That can be a key activity of this program that you can say, hey, you know what, we've got somebody that needs mental health services. We don't provide it, but we're going to refer them to one of our partners that provides that. All right. Social enterprise venture concept. Provide a brief history of the organization, what prompted it to develop a social enterprise venture, explain in detail how the purpose of the venture aligns with the mission of the organization, right? So when you're going into this space, the entity that's generating revenue must align 100% with your mission. And that's key, and you need to know that, because if you're providing, I don't know, mental health services, and your venture is about, I don't know, creating a construction company, and your mission has nothing to do with economic development, then the enterprise is not aligned with your mission, and you can be placed in danger of losing your 501c3 status. So you got to be real careful that, you know, what we're thinking about doing aligns with our mission 100%. Description of business product or services. Describe in detail the product services that will be brought to market, right? So again, as I said earlier, what you're bringing to market is not meant, your market is not that population that's marginalized or that's economically disenfranchised. You've got to find a different market that would pay fair market rate for the product or service that you're bringing to market. Describe the strength in the industry and the ventures competition. So if you're in a particular space, whatever your idea is, whatever your revenue generating model is, undoubtedly there are competitors, and there's an industry. And then what is that industry that you're walking into? And then who are your competitors? Because we want to know that. Social opportunity recognized. Describe the social issue that is being addressed, right? Because the reason you're creating an enterprise is so you can gain access to capital, untapped capital, so that you can continue to provide services in addressing a particular social issue. So what is that social issue that you're addressing? How will the venture help the organization address the issue, right? And what are the specific ways that make the approach a socially entrepreneurial approach, right? What are the ways that make it better, different, and new? What are the ways that you can generate revenue? And how are you going to be able to create, potentially, after you prototype and test it for the startup folks, how are you going to be able to prototype and test this venture to see that it resonates with the targeted market? The targeted market in this sentence means the market that will pay fair market rate for the product or service. What are the business and social goals and objectives? What are the business goals and objectives, right? And only you know what those are, right? Are you trying to create more widgets? Are you trying to get more inventory to sell? Are you trying to get purchase an inventory program so you can better track inventory? Or like what are you trying to get? You have, you know, you're only in, I don't know, New Brunswick, and you want to venture out into Edison. How is that going to happen? And then what are your objectives? What are your social goals and objectives? If you're addressing a particular social issue, you know, what is it that you want to, what is it that you want this venture to help you better address? Then upload the business canvas model into appendices. Defining the market. Indicate who, upload the logic model for the social goals and objectives. So let me go back here. Let me just show you real quick. So you guys have a challenge, right? Because not only do you have to do the business canvas model for the enterprise, you also have to upload a logic model for your social services approach, because you're going to be operating two things simultaneously. You know, your regular delivery of service, whether that is, you know, supporting youth development, supporting seniors, employment services, mental health, substance abuse recovery support service, whatever that is, right? And what are the resources that you're going to be utilizing, right? Right? That should align, that won't align with the budget of this application, but we want to know what are the resources, because we understand that you're applying for a seed application, and the money for this application is specifically targeted towards the enterprise. But we also want to know, what are your social issues? What is the social issue that the enterprise hopefully helps you address better, and what are the resources that you need for that? If you get those resources, what are the activities that you're going to be able to implement for that you currently already do? Outputs, what are your goals? Outcomes, what are your objectives? Impacts, what is the vision? What is the ultimate vision of when Eddie participates in your social service program that you're going to be able to change in him, right? What is the total impact of that? All right. Defining the market. Indicate who comprises the market, the paying market, that is requesting that the social issue be addressed in the manner that the proposed social enterprise venture would address. So you have two markets. You have a paying market, and then you have a social market, those individuals that are marginalized. What we're asking you is identify those two different markets. Describe in detail the willingness of customers to pay for the service product that's being brought to market. This you can pull from the information that you wrote in the business canvas model, right? Describe in detail the willingness of the client to participate in the social enterprise venture, meaning, you know, in participating in a social enterprise venture, what is the willingness of customers to come to and buy whatever it is you're selling, bring it to market? Organizational management, key management personnel. You know, you can upload resumes, like who are the key management personnel that are gonna work on this enterprise moving forward. They could be volunteers, but you're gonna have to, we're gonna wanna know who are the people, because if you only identify people that are your current staff that have no experience in launching or prototyping a social enterprise, then if they're youth development folks, if it walks and talks like a youth development program, that's what it is. It's not a social enterprise. And so somebody with some skill sets in this space or willing to learn must have some experience at minimum about how to operate a revenue generating model. Operation plan. Describe in detail the design of the social enterprise venture. Describe the manufacturing process, if applicable. Describe the physical facilities and equipment, if you have any. Describe any regulatory and or legal issues that must be addressed. Now, you got to complete the budget forms in Sage. You got to complete the business canvas model and upload that under appendices. And you need to complete the board resolution, which is this one here. It's on the website. It's a fillable PDF. Just fill it out, save it, and upload it. And you also need to upload the sales and revenue spreadsheet and the projected sales and revenue spreadsheet. Now you're going to say, geez, now we got to make our own revenue spreadsheet. No, because we did it for you, you see? And so it says seed growth here and seed startup. So for seed growth, under funding sources, you would say, okay, OFBI funding, hopefully, potential projections, you know, where do you see, you know, the customer segments? You would write customer segments. So let's say OFBI funding. And then the next one for seed growth is potential customers, right? So for OFBI, you're going to current year portion, let's say it's I don't know, let's say you're going for $25,000 because that's what everybody ends up going for, right? And then this is 100%, right? And so the best case scenario is you get the full grant, you're able to operate. If you get less than the full grant, 75%, what modifications do you need to make? And if you get 50% of the grant, can you operate, and what modifications would you need to make? So potential customers, you're going to say, okay, maybe there's an opportunity here to get revenues in the amount of, I don't know, let's be conservative, $5,000, right? And so let's say 100% there. And so, okay, so you get best case scenario, by the end of the year, you get an additional $5,000. That makes your total income $30,000, projected total income. Moderate would be a total of $22,500 projected income to support the enterprise. And then the worst case scenario, you only make $2,500. That's not even the worst case scenario. And I'm going to change that word to a more positive word. So you got the 12.5 and the 2,500 gives you $1,500. So those that are in seed growth may have a better idea what the potential customers are. For seed startup, it's the same thing, right? You're going to put OFBI funding, right? And you're going to put $10,000, right? Because remember, you have no experience in this space, even though you want to use this money to pay for salaries of people that have no idea what they're doing in this space, right? So let's start you off with $10,000. Then, based on your idea, what might be your projected customer revenue, right? You've never done it, so you're not going to tell me $20,000, but some of you will, and so we'll just put that in there. But right, and so this is you're going to operate this at 50%, right? Hold on, oh, I forgot to put that formula there. So that would be 7,500 right there. And so you're going to be operating at, let's say, the moderate level, right? And so if you're going to say, we're definitely getting the $10,000, and because we have no idea what we're talking about, we think that we're going to be able to make $20,000 in revenue, which is like, $10,000 more than that the grant is actually. So you're going to make by the end of the year $30,000. A more realistic approach would be, hey, you know what? We're going to get $7,500 from OFBI. And maybe we can generate about $15,000 in revenue, which gives us a total of $22,500. And then 50% of that would be $5,000, which would be $5,000, which would be $10,000. The formula is already in here. I got to fix that one formula, but this is where it's at. This is where it's at. So now we're asking you to, do the budget on Sage, but now we want to see who are your potential customers for, who are your current customers? Like, what did you do last year? 2022 customers, right? What was your growth last year? And then what will be your projected projected customer revenue for this year? And then you plug in that information and it's all there. And then you can justify what you're doing by putting it in notes. It's just another exercise to get you into the mind frame of being a social entrepreneur. All right. So I'm going to hold all questions to last. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go live. Where the heck am I at? Live. Here we go. And I'm going to have to do what I said in the beginning of the webinar, New Jersey, because I don't even know my own URL. I thought it was here. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh no, I have to go to Sage. So let me go to Sage. You guys see this? All right, good. So this is the Sage portal. When you go on www.sage.nj.gov, this is where you land, right here. And this is our test site. So if you forgot your username, you click forgot username, right? And then what you put in is you put your username in the top box here. And then the email that you have to insert here is the email that you use to register for Sage. If you put another email, you'll never get the reset email to reset your password. Then you click reset my password. Then you'll receive an email from Sage to say, hey, this is a randomized password of letters and numbers. And the first thing that we want to do is copy and paste it. And you're going to say, it's not working. And it's April 20th. And it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the application is due at 4:59 p.m. And I'm going to say, well, you can't copy and paste it. You got to insert each character independently. So once you do that, then it sends you another email with your, and once you put that temporary email, you click log in, it takes you to another window where you reset your password. I know it's a lot of hoops. And then you have your password. So let's say you have your password, you log in. And then you're going to come to the My Task page. Your My Task page is not going to look like this at all. Like I said, this is our test site. So when you get to the My Task page, the first thing I want you to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom and click View Opportunities. Under the provider box, you want to click NJDOS_Sage. And on the document instance, you want to put, I don't know what, Social Enterprise, and you want to click Filter. And so these are all our old applications. So what will pop up would be the 2024 application, and I got to find it, which is this one here. So it'll be OFBI Social Enterprise Entrepreneurial Development 2024 for the name of the organization. You come down to the bottom, you click Apply Now, and this is the agreement page. When you get to the agreement page, you'll have two links. This link here will give, it's a document that talks about the general funding guidelines, like for the entire Department of State. And then you could click this link for application guidelines. And when you click this link, in the past, there used to be, it would open up to the actual application guidelines, but every now and then there are changes and tweaks to the application in midstream. And it was just a challenge to get Sage to upload the current applications. And so what I asked them to do this year is, can you have them click application guidelines and take them to our grant page, right? So that way, the most current applications will always be here. All right. After you do that, you click I agree. And then you're on the application page. First thing we want you to do is hover over Forms menu and click Profile Information. And Sage is quirky like this. Sometimes it takes a minute for it to get you to the page that you clicked. All right, so when you get to this page, because this is a test site, all of this is going to be blank. And you're going to be, on April 15th, you're going to be bugging out because you're going to say, like, I can't insert information here. And you're going to be blowing up my phone and you're going to be calling and emailing me. And I'm like, did you watch the webinar? And you're going to be like, no. I said, well, go back to watch the webinar because it explains this. So when you get to this page, you want to do these 4 boxes. So I am a big Star Wars fan and Star Trek fan. And I've been using Captain Kirk, James T. Kirk, as my test name, Captain, right? And then you come down to the bottom and you click that box that says, by checking this box, you confirm that all information above is accurate to the best of your knowledge. And you're going to say, what information? Because all this is actually empty. And all this is actually empty. And you're just going to see asterisks there. And you're not going to be like, what's going on? After you fill out these 4 boxes, go to the top and click Save. The information on this page is the information that you uploaded in the webinar that's called Step 1 Organization Information. And then it takes, when you click Save, it pulls all that and migrates all that information from that page to this page. Here's another thing that's going to happen on April 20th at 3:30 in the afternoon, right? You're going to see an error sign here, and you're gonna go crazy because you're like, what's going on? Sometimes it takes 2 attempts to fully migrate the information from one part of Sage into this part of Sage. And so all I ask you to do is to click save again. Takes a minute. All right, and so you're good to go, right? Everything is filled out. You're good to go. You got this green light. Green light means go. You can either go through the forms in order or in random order. If you want to go in order, you can click Save Next, and it'll save the document and it'll take you to the next page. All right. Is this it? Yes. So now you're on the selection of grant category. So you want to put the name of your project title, and you want to check one. Is it seed growth or seed startup? Remember, seed growth is for organizations that have an existing social enterprise venture in place or generating revenue. Seed startup is an idea. You've never done this before, but we're gonna fund you at $10,000 because there's absolutely no way that a nonprofit is gonna do this for free. Meaning you're not gonna bootstrap it because you don't have the human capital to bootstrap it. You don't have the volunteers that will be willing to bootstrap it. You don't have a board that will be willing to come in and actually try something new to address a social issue. So we're gonna fund you at $10,000 for an idea. So let's go startup. Go up to the top. I'm going to click Save Next. Takes a minute. All right. What's going on here? I see an error sign. Okay, and then takes you to the next page. You won't see an error sign, but if you do, it's because you didn't fill out one of these. Anything with an asterisk needs to be filled out. So I'm gonna go with it should be Dr. Is it Bones McCoy, the doctor's name on Star Trek, right? And it's gonna be, our organization name is the Enterprise. You're gonna see how, then it's Starfleet, right? And it's somewhere in, I don't know, we're gonna say Trenton and in New Jersey, and then you want 08625, you wanna insert that. You gotta put in the telephone number. So I usually put all zeros. Then you wanna put in an email. So it's bones at Starfleet at Star Trek. .com. All right. If you have a website, put your website in there, and then it's going to be a professional project director. It's going to be Ahura, and it's a crazy last name. It's also the N-E-D, I think it is. I forget. Nahura, I think it is. I don't know. Again, it's the Enterprise. It's Trenton. ENTON, New Jersey, 08625. Then you're going to put a 123 123 1234. You're going to put a telephone number, and you're going to put Ahura at Starfleet at StarTrek.com. And then the chief financial officer is going to be Mr. Chekhov, right? And I don't know his last name because I don't think they ever give it 123 123 1234. And then the email is Chekhov at Starfleet at StarTrack.com. And this is where you put your agency-wide budget. Let's say it's $50,000. Come up to the top, click save. Right? You see there's an error. Let's see where the error is at. Data does not match expected. Bones. Let me see. Bones ES at Starfleet.StarTrack.com. All right. So let's go to the top. Because Sage won't let anything slip by. Ahura is the same thing. Put 2 ats as opposed to 1 at. Go up to the top. And I think I see the same issue with checkoff. Come down to the bottom. Let me fix that. Come up to the top. Click save. So on March 10th, February 20th, you can make these mistakes and you'll be okay. It's still processing. April 19th, you're not going to be able to read. You're not going to be able to read that error message because you're just going to be like all you seeing is red, and you're panicking because you promised your supervisor that you'd get it in on time. All right. Then you go to Forms menu and you go to Executive Summary. So remember, the executive summary is on the grant guidelines, and I said that the executive summary is actually asking you to summarize the business model canvas. And so you can watch this webinar earlier that I said that earlier. So for test purposes, I'm just going to write the word test and keep it moving. All right, and so you come up to Forms menu and you go to the next application of the next form, which is Statement of Collaboration. This is where you have to insert 3 collaborators. So we're going to say org 1, and then what you do here is that hopefully if they send you a PDF version of the support letter, you can convert it to a Word document and you can copy and paste it and you can summarize what they wrote and you can insert it here. You go up to the top, you click save. All right, and so you need to add another organization. So at the top, see this add button, you click add, and what it does, it wipes this page out, and then you can put the second organization in. Right, so we're gonna call the second organization org 2, and then again, you summarize what the support letter says, and then you put it in the text box, you come up to the top and you click save. All right, and then for the third one, you click add for the third page. Come up to the bottom, put the third organization's name in here, summarize what the support letter says, and then come up to the top and click save. All right, and then you'll see on the bottom here, there's a drop-down box where you can see that all 3 support letters, all 3 support collaborating partners have been identified. You hover over Forms menu, and you go down to the business plan, click business plan. This is when you need the grant guidelines because there are certain bullets and information that you need to complete for each of these sections. So I'm just gonna write test here to keep this moving, but I already went over the grant guidelines in detail. I'm not gonna repeat, but you can watch the webinar, go up to the top and click save. Oh, we're doing good. Look at that, 12:49. It takes a minute, All right, then you hover over Forms menu and you go to Personnel. This is your budget. So I think this is the startup application. So I'm gonna go for $10,000. So, in best case scenario, because you're bootstrapping this, And most enterprises don't pay salaries on an idea because they want to make sure that they plow all the money into making sure that that idea makes sense and you can prototype and test it. I'm going to assume that you all understand that, and there'll be no salaries for startups. But if you think you need to put a salary in there, then which anyway. All right, so if you're going to charge a fringe, then you have to insert what that percentage is. For the fringe, I'm just using 1. And then the position title is, I don't know, SE coordinator, let's just say. And let's say the person's name is Mr. Spock. And his annual salary is, I don't know, $35,000. And Mr. Spock works, standard weekly hours is 7, and standard weekly hours is, no, what the heck am I doing? 35. And he's going to work, I don't know, 5 hours on this job a week. And so you're going to charge him out of this grant $5,000. For startups, you shouldn't have any, but if you're going to have somebody, it should be only one person. All right, go up to the top and click save. For those that are in growth, you might have to look at this differently, right? You may have staff that's working in the enterprise that you support their salaries through other funding opportunities, and that you want to charge them a particular percentage of the grant to go towards their salary, which makes a lot of sense, right? All right, so everything's now is to $5,350. You hover over Forms menu, and you go to Consultants and Contractors. So because you're a startup, you shouldn't have any consultants and contractors, because the idea here is to use the bulk of the money, harvest your human capital, get volunteers that have some type of an understanding on how to operate an enterprise, whether it's commercial or social enterprise, and that you're going to utilize the bulk of the money of the grant to position the idea so you can prototype and test it. So for startups, you shouldn't have any consultants, but let's say that, you can't think outside of the traditional way of a nonprofit. So yeah, you're gonna have to get a consultant to do what? Let's say, I don't know, marketing director, of course. For a startup organization that's never done it before, it's going to spend money on a marketing director. Okay, to market. Okay, because this is the stuff that I see all the time in applications for startup. And you've got what, $7,300 left, and you're going to say you're gonna pay him or her $4,000 because you don't want to bootstrap it and you don't have the volunteers, but you're going after this grant because, I don't know, it's a novel idea, right? Because this when I read these applications, I'm like, well, why? You got to bootstrap it. That's part of what an enterprise is all about. You have board members that may be energized that want to go down this particular space because, a lot of board members have corporate backgrounds, and for some reason, when they got on nonprofit boards, they forget that skill set that they have. But maybe you can energize them and say, hey, this is an opportunity. All right, so now that's saved, you go over Forms menu, you hover and you go over other cost categories. So that's 4, that's 3, that's $7,350 that has been spent. And let's say, and you haven't even purchased inventory startups, right? Because you're paying people that you don't even know if this thing's going to work. So let's say you're going to go under other and you're going to do staff development, because maybe that's a good idea, development, since maybe you have limited experience in launching an enterprise and you might want to get training on how to operate a revenue generating model. Maybe that's it. And you have, so let's say it's going to be $1,000. 1, 2, 3. That's the cost estimate, and you're going to charge the grant $1,000. Oops. All right, and then the next thing is maybe you might want some equipment since this is a new thing, and maybe you need mobile laptops. I don't know. A one at, I don't know, $600, and you're going to charge a grant $600, and then it is, and since this is new to you, you're going to think of it like a regular grant. So you're going to be like, oh, you know what, maybe we have to pay rent. So with startup capital to start your enterprise, but this is what we see. So you're going to say, okay, rent's going to be, I don't know, you're going to charge the grant $500 rent, something like that, right? Even though that $500 can be used to, modify the widget that you're trying to bring out to market to see if it makes sense to the targeted population. So you go up to the top and you click save. Sage takes a second, and then it adds it all up. And then the next thing you want to do is go to forms menu, come down to overall budget. Don't worry about that hand, because when you make this fix I'm about to do, it'll get rid of that hand. Takes a minute. All right. So the grant is for 10,000, and I'm over by 11,450. It's April 20th at like 4:30. You're not going back, so you're going to submit it as 11,450. But ideally, what you'd like to do is go back and play with the budget so that it's at $10,000. The next thing you're going to do is when you get to this page is click save. The information that's been saved. Then you're going to hover over forms menu, and you're going to click required appendices, and then you're going to upload you're going to upload the board resolution, and I'm just going to upload a random thing here. You're going to upload the board resolution. You're going to upload the revenue analysis forecast, right? You're going to upload, projected sales, and I got to fix that. Yeah, you only have to do 2 uploads, the sales and revenues, not the projected, because it's all in one document. So you should be good. I'm going to make sure that I get rid of this here. So don't worry about that. Then you're going to come up to the top and you're going to click save, even though that third asterisk is not uploaded. Sage may find an error because I didn't upload it. And there you go, I do that. So I'm going to get that fixed. Upload, save. I'm going to get that fixed today. All right. Then you hover over forms. We're almost finished. It's 12:58. Look at that. We're making good times. Click appendices. If you have any questions, you can insert in the Q&A button down below. And I think over here, if you want to put resumes, if you want to do that, you can upload that. The logic model should be uploaded here. The business canvas model should be uploaded here, which is this document here. Should be uploaded here. And what else is there? And that's about it. All right, so everything is uploaded. You're going to hit save. Let me see. And it takes a minute. Okay, everything is uploaded. You're going to hover over forms menu, and you're going to make sure that there isn't a hand, that orange hand. How do I know that each section is filled out? Well, when you see a pencil, So the statement of collaboration, you'll see like, it looks like there's a shadow paper there. That's an indication that all three agencies have been identified. And all these pages that have a pencil means that they've been properly completed. So to submit the application, you hover over status change, you go underneath application submitted, and you apply the status. Now, when you apply the status, you got to agree, yes, I want to submit the application. Sage does its thing. It's moving the application into application submitted status. And when it gets to application submitted status, there isn't an email that you're going to receive from Sage, right? But when you submit the application, usually this detail box is open, if not expanded, and you'll see info, document type, organization, role, current status. Under current status, it'll say application submitted, and it's like 4:45, and you can breathe again on April 20th. So that's it for the webinar. I've got one question here, so let me answer this question. And I jumped on a little late. Are you recording this webinar? Yes, Sharika, I'm recording the webinar, and it should be on our website by Wednesday of next week, the latest. All right, everybody, I don't see any other questions here. I hope I was informative. I hope I was able to keep you captivated and engaged. I will now stop the recording.